All right. Well, welcome back. This is our pro athlete interview series and is brought to you by the Family Office Club. And in case you haven't met us before, haven't come to one of our events, we have about 7,500 registered investors and hosted events all over the world for the last 17 years, about 275 events or so. And we have pro athletes, doctors, private investors, billionaires up on stage at our events and on some of the shows that we host. And we decided to go deep for this series to find out what it takes to become a top 1% performer. And so we thought, how better to do that than interviewing a series of pro athletes on their mindsets, investments, visualization practices, affirmations, disciplines. And that's why we have CJ here with us today. And CJ, we just wanted to take a minute to thank you for coming onto the show and then maybe learn a little bit more about your background.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. Honored to be on the show.
No, thank you. Well, why don't we start with your professional background in the sports field? Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started and what you're doing now?
So I grew up playing basketball just with my dad and my brother in the front yard. My family is a family full of athletes. I feel like they played all different sports: basketball, track and field, volleyball. But basketball was something that I fell in love with. I played it to stay out of trouble, and then also I just became good and just I wasn't the best, but I just kind of just worked hard. My parents instilled in me and my brother a work ethic, and we just kind of continue that. And I was fortunate enough to get a athletic scholarship to the University of Tennessee. Played there for 4 years, had a pretty good career. Then I didn't get drafted, so I went overseas to play in Italy and Greece, and then came back, played in the D League for about a month, and then played in the NBA for 10 years, and then one more year overseas.
Nice. So then what teams did you play with here in the US?
Chicago Bulls, Brooklyn Nets, Indiana Pacers, Golden State Warriors, Orlando Magic, and I'm missing somebody. I forgot. It's 5 teams.
No, nicely done. Congrats. It's obviously a long way from just playing with your brother and family there in the
Yeah,
front yard. So,
yeah, for sure.
and I guess so. When did you stop playing? Like when did your professional career switch from the sports side into what you're doing now?
Probably I think 2019 was my last year.
Okay, and then so what did you start doing in that 2019 timeframe?
So 2019, I started investing in private equity companies. Also, I started writing children's books. I've written 4 children's books so far. It's just something that I wanted to do to continue to inspire kids. I always say the idea came from me just sitting on the couch, saying, "How can I continue to tell my story?" And I thought, what other reason to do that, and what cool way to do that is through a book. So I just decided to write books, and I never thought about being an author before, but just something that I wanted to do. And once I start something, I want to finish it.
I love, and I guess on the book side, we'll get to the others, but is that something that you wanted to write for maybe family or for your own kids, or why did you take that specific medium?
Just to inspire the next generation. I feel like they need a lot of inspiration. I feel like there's a lot of people when I was coming up, coaches, family members, just random people just always come up and give me a sound word of advice. I think that kind of helped me throughout my life and throughout my career also. So I definitely think that's kind of, why I did it, just to help the next generation succeed.
I love that, CJ. That's great. Well, then why don't we talk about sort of, because you had a very interesting path going, one, not being able to make it at first, going and then coming back, and obviously you're able to make it and hold with the best for 10 years in the
Yep.
NBA. So I guess what's visualization or affirmation or goal setting rituals, or I guess strategies did you actually use to become in that 0.1%?
I would say just goal setting. I think that's the biggest thing, and obviously having the confidence and the positive affirmations, just telling yourself that you can do it, you can make it. But every year I write new goals. Every season, I think also having realistic goals. I think a lot of people write down goals and they're probably not realistic. But I think being realistic with the goals and then going out and achieving those goals and working hard to do it every year. I will go out and write new goals, and sometimes I'll write new goals during the season and to help me prepare for next season. So, and even now with my kids, me and my wife, we have our daughters write down goals for the school year, and then also if they play sports for sports. So I think it's just going to help them in life and help them, accomplish those goals too.
I love it. And so what did you do to actually put, like, I guess, ways to sort of, or checkpoints in there to make sure that you're staying on track with those goals? Did you have someone to keep you accountable? Is it just yourself or?
No, I would post them on my wall every morning. I would wake up in the morning, brushing my teeth, washing my face. I would see those goals. I would say them out loud, and I would, hopefully, throughout the day and throughout the week, accomplish those goals. Every day I drop my daughter for school, I tell her to read her goals and practice and say her prayers before she goes to practice. So hopefully she's doing it. I don't know if she is, but I just
Yeah.
try to get her a mindset, of always just having positive affirmations and just going out there and seeing it, hearing it, and then also saying it and going out there and doing it.
Okay. And for your goals, do you have a specific, like, okay, I'm going to hit these 10. And these are your 10 for the year for the season, or do you have a certain number you're going for? Or how do you structure that when you're setting this up each year?
Yeah, I usually put down 10 goals. Like I said,
Okay.
they can change throughout the quarter, throughout the year. Some might cross off, maybe in the first month. But then I just try to keep it at 10. You don't want to get too many. I think once
Mhm.
you get a small amount of number, then you continue to add or decrease or whatever. But I think once you have that number, you just stick with it. And then, like I said, just go out there and work hard to grind it out and knock those goals off.
And I guess, do you have anything that you set up for yourself of once you hit one of those goals? Is there something that you do to like celebrate, or you're just like, all right, now I got nine more, and that's the celebration?
No, I think you just continue to once throughout the year you'll do like maybe like a congratulations dinner or something like that. But other than
Mhm.
that, I think you just keep head down, focus, staying humble, and then just knock those goals out.
Okay. I love it. Well, why don't we turn to this? What's the number $1 million lesson that you learned as a pro athlete that you plan to implement that sort of helps you get into beast mode outside of sports now?
I would say the power of networking. I think networking is great, especially playing in the NBA. Everyone wants to meet an NBA player. I think we come in contact with so many millionaires and billionaires throughout our course of the season and maybe even career. But and you never know who can help you and if you can help that person. So I just think the power of networking is pretty powerful and something that I never thought about when I played. I'm definitely a shy and reserved person in
Mhm.
nature, so I'm definitely trying to get out the box more and meet people and just network and and see what they do, see if we can collaborate some way or partner. So I definitely think networking is the way to go.
Okay, and I guess if you were to go back and you're like, and you know what you know now, and you're like, all right,
Yeah.
networking, I should have done this better. If let's say you're starting back out, and let's say you're 1 year back into the NBA and you feel comfortable with coming back and showing up, what would you have done differently to sort of expand your network and sort of make sure to keep those network and points of contact like good, fresh leads? Because once
Yeah.
again, it's good to network, but what are you going to do with them once you've actually done that networking?
Right. I think if you have something in common with that person, like I said, hopefully you can partner with them, but always reaching out maybe once a quarter or once or twice or a quarter, just saying, hey, how you doing? Thinking about you, what do you have new coming up or what's interesting that you have on your plate? And maybe that can be something that you guys can piggyback off of and just start the conversation.
Yeah. And I guess one of the nice thing too, I guess when you're a player, you might be traveling around a lot too. So at least you're hitting all these different points as
Right.
well. So it's very easy to be like, hey, I'm in your neck of the woods.
Right.
Let
Yeah.
me know if you want to, grab coffee, do this, or
Yeah.
come see a practice, or there might be ways to easily connect without forcing that relationship.
Yeah, and that's what I do now. When I'm traveling with my daughter, if I have friends in certain cities I haven't seen in a while, I talk to them a while. I'll text them or call them and say, "Hey, let's meet up," or go to lunch or dinner or something like that. So just never know what people can be into, what can start the conversation.
Yeah, and I guess do you have any recommendations of how to sort of navigate or sort of, I guess, consolidate or sort any of those networking resources or contacts that you build out? Like, do you have a CRM that you use for it, or is sort of informal, or how do you keep track of all those relationships just so you don't lose track of them as you're like, man, now I have 150 people I'm trying to keep
Right.
track of. Like, what do you do?
Uh, yeah, usually, I'm pretty old school. I feel like I'm not that old, but I just been taught by older generation. So I
Mhm.
used to just have a stack of my business cards all the time that I've, got through over time. So I would, but now obviously I keep them on my iPhone, and if someone, that I know or can't remember, I'll just put their city and what they do in their contact, and
Mhm.
then if I go to that city, then I'll say, hey, this person's in that city, so maybe I'll hit them up.
Yeah. No, that's smart. That's really smart. Do you have someone that helps you out now with that? Do you have like an executive assistant that sort of helps? Hey, you're going to this place with your daughter. Here's
Right.
five.
Yeah.
Or is it still on you right now to keep track of those?
It's still on me for now. I
Okay.
like doing it all my own. I feel like it keeps me motivated and keeps me aware of what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it keeps it more authentic too. And it's
Yeah,
actually you thinking about this, reaching out, letting them
right,
know about what you're doing with your family. So,
right.
okay. Well, what's a costliest financial mistake that you've made, or in case you don't want to do one that you personally have made, but maybe someone else in
Yeah.
the athletic space has made that you could sort of help other athletes avoid?
I think for athletes, I think it's definitely you hear the term all the time, save your money. I think
Mhm.
definitely that's a big thing. We make so much of our money in a short period of time, and we want to make that money last and hopefully create generational wealth. So we want to live to maybe when we're 70 or 80. So how can you do that unless you don't save your money and be smart with it? So I think that's the biggest financial piece of advice that someone has ever given me, and I try to live by and do and continue to, like I said, do that and teach the next generation also.
And do you have certain like contacts or relationships, or is it a certain third party that you're like, oh, I recommend going with these guys because they'll help you preserve your wealth for future generations? Or what are your recommendations for that? Because they might know that, but they're like, I don't know how to do it.
Right. I would say just do your due diligence first. Find people who have in the same field as you, who you know have been successful or maybe even failed and can give you advice on a specific subject. But I don't want to ever, I guess, advise someone to take someone financially, because like, what if it doesn't work out? Then it's my fault. I feel like so
Yeah.
I would give you recommendations, but you have to do your due diligence and interview people and all that kind of stuff and see if it works out for you. But I think also having mentors also. One of my
Mm.
biggest mentors is Rashawn Williams. He's a great guy, and he does great things and always helps athletes and entertainers, save their money and build their money. So I definitely think, just having mentors is a big way to kind of alleviate some of the process also.
Okay, and I guess for yourself, and because that'd be great to speak from your own personal perspective of when you're trying to find a mentor, is there certain buckets you're trying to like? Is it like a knowledge gap mentor that you're trying to find, or what would you recommend that worked really well for you that way?
Someone who's just been there and done it before you, like I said, succeeded and maybe failed also, that can tell you what to do and maybe what not to do and not how to do it, but just give you different pointers and advice on ways to, like I said, if it's about finance, to make your money last, to save, to put your money in certain buckets to build it. So I definitely think mentors are the biggest thing in any market or venture you go to.
No, makes sense for sure. And is this, I guess we didn't ask you before, with your wife and stuff, are you guys working on some of these projects together, or are you solely focused more on your own, or how does that work with your own dynamic?
Solely focused on my own, but I also send her things all the time. So you never can doubt a woman's intuition. I send her
For sure.
investments and stuff all the time. So she tells me if she likes it, she looks it up. She does her due diligence also, and I give her information that I have on my end. So I definitely take her advice, because I wouldn't be, where I am without her.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, that's great. And I guess so for the next question, if someone wants to become just like you and was in the 0.1 percenter, how can they outcompete everyone around them? Because obviously you took a very different path, and
Mhm.
perhaps that might be a way to outcompete someone is find these other opportunities and then get back to where perhaps you wanted to be, which might have been the NBA for those 10 years. Like, how do you
Right.
be more disciplined? How are you able to run circles around those others that maybe they didn't last when they went overseas and tried coming back, or maybe they were only able to play for 2 years? Like, how do you outcompete and how do you stay in like you did?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's just mostly about showing up. I think showing up is half the battle right there. I think when you show up and be consistent and work and grind, you'll beat half the competition. Because most of the people, don't want to. After 2 weeks, they'll just fall off the map. So you'll definitely beat half the competition just by just showing up, being diligent, being dedicated, obviously sacrificing. There's so many things that you can put into the bucket, but I think showing up and just doing the work is half the battle right there.
Okay, I love that. And I guess before we finish, is there any other advice or insights you'd like to give to athletes either who are currently playing or ones that are looking to make that transition?
Just building, like I said, building generational wealth. I'm really big on that, and inspiring others. There's always somebody that you can inspire, and if you're an athlete or whatever market you're in or industry you're in, always somebody's watching. So somebody's younger than you is watching. So always try to be a good positive mentor for them, be a good advice or a shoulder they can talk to lean on in good times and in bad.
Yeah, no, I love that, CJ. I think that goes for anyone, but I think especially when you have a
Right.
platform, when you have people that look up to you, I think that's
Yep.
great advice. So, well, perfect. Well, CJ, thank you for doing this interview. Thank you for being here and giving your insights. And once again, if you have anything that you think of that comes up, let us know and we'll be sure to add it to the show. But I just want to say thank you so much.
No, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you, CJ.
Thanks.